What up, everyone? It's your boy Red Hawk. It is Tuesday, May 12, 2026 at 4:32 in the afternoon, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about all the stuff that I encountered back in high school and any other periods before and after. That being said, yeah, I am not done talking about Bio Dad. There had been so many things that I experienced that were mostly terrible from him, as you all know from my previous videos already. Alright, so I'm gonna continue where I left off with the little ordeal that I had in David Starr Jordan Middle School, Burbank, California, as I was sent to special education for 2 weeks before getting back to being a regular student and passing the audio test that I needed to pass in order to be classified as a regular student. I already told you that Bio Dad had essentially forced me to become a clarinet player in Dr. John Whitener's beginning band. Well, I also told you already that I hated my time in the band because I didn't like going to after school practices and just honing my skills for the clarinet. Well, here's the little kicker. Upon passing the audio test that dealt with a little boy in a bakery and flour and egg to make bread, that was the time when Biodad got so elated that I was returning to the band. And I was playing one of the pieces that Dr. Whitener had required his students to do. Not just the clarinet players. There were also the trumpeters, trombone players, tuba players, timpani players, saxophone players, bass clarinet players, French horn players, one bass guitar player, and so on and so forth. I was playing one of the pieces that I knew back then, and my dad was clapping and smiling his heart out as he saw me. And that was back in our old home in 442 North Parish Place between Clark Avenue and Magnolia Boulevard. As part of me succeeding with that audio test, he actually handed me $20, $20 as his reward to me. And if I could recall, one of his words to me was that, "Hey, this is part of my salary. Uh, Spend it wisely." Well, in order to unleash my frustration on being bullied by Biodad, I actually went to Island Pacific store in Van Nuys with my uncle, my eldest uncle, to buy a CD of the comedy duo Pork Chop Duo. A duo consisting of uh, what was it? I'm looking up this. Sorry, my memory's just a little bit hazy right now. But yeah, Pork Chop Duo consisted of Renato, Porky Gomez, and Romeo Choppy Vargas. For some odd reason, I had memorized their names, but as of now, my brain completely froze on them because it's just, I don't know. Pork Chop Duo is a really enlightening little group. And those two gentlemen taught me so much about being funny overall, and me trying to, and me with me being a theater enthusiast. They helped me enhance a little bit of my comedic skills, even though I try to be respectful towards people and try not to take risks towards telling off-color lewd jokes all around. Yeah, those two, Mr. Gomez and Mr. Vargas, they pretty much indirectly taught me how to make people laugh whenever I could. And so I bought one of Pork Chop Duo's CDs for $20, exactly what Biodad rewarded me with. It was actually suggested by my eldest uncle because he also loved listening to the jokes of that duo. And when Bio Dad caught wind of me purchasing a Pork Chop Duo TD in one fell swoop from the $20 that he gave, he got mad. He basically saw me as a mirror of my mother, uh, basically turning his money into what he would like to call allowance, a Tagalog-ish, a Taglish take on allowance, with aliw being defined in Tagalog as leisure, in a really bad connotation. I don't know what had gotten in his mind back then when it comes to him acting out like this, but it could very well trace back to his second wife, stepmom, and his Italian American minister back in San Diego when he was in the Navy. Yes, I am saying that to all of you straight now, and on the entire record, as best as I can, without ever denigrating him or stepmom. Just cold, hard facts about what I experienced when I was growing up, people. No need to put him down. Just telling all of you, by the way, again and again, which I can't emphasize enough, that all of you, younger people, including those that are aspiring to become parents and or even have kids as of now, that you shouldn't be doing what my biological father did to me when I was growing up. That aside, I'm gonna get into a little bit more discrepancies that he and stepmom committed. Alright, so about stepmom too, she had like these darkly favorite phrases. There's one in which she would call me sampung tanga, which is tenfold of a dummy or a dumb person, if I committed something wrong. And then the second phrase that she likes to blurt out is it goes a little something like this. Siguro, pinapakain mo yung alaga mo. Yes, which means maybe you are feeding your little pet demon inside you. Well, guess what? She was so hypocritical about this because she was the devil herself. And the third one, which is one of the biggest pet peeves for me, is when she would refer to any of my non-Filipino friends by their race. Like, for example, there was this older Korean girl that I had a little bit of a crush on. She was like an upperclassman. I'm not going to specify what her class year was, but when I told Bio Dad and Stepmom about her, stepmom would start referring to her as si Koreana, or Tagalog for that Korean girl or the Korean girl. She would never refer to that girl by her proper name. It just goes to show how ignorant my stepmother was and how she doesn't have any interest in learning about other people. Even though the irony was that she had a good elderly Korean lady friend back at her workplace out in Ventura County, who she would see in a Korean supermarket close to our apartment. The supermarket in question, let's see, Korean supermarket in Van Nuys with green logo. The Korean supermarket in Van Nuys is called, yes, exactly that color, Greenland Market. And it had like a white and green rectangular logo that you wouldn't miss whenever you go to its address down at Sherman Way, just by Canoga Park. It was like once or twice that stepmom and I would drive there to get some groceries, and she would meet up with her Korean friend. And she would be all nice and stuff, but deep down inside, she was devilish. I don't know how she could keep up with this facade, really, when it comes to dealing with people, especially when I'm around her, when I was around her. I don't know. Black magic or something? Yeah, it was just really fracking creepy, ladies and gentlemen. Just thinking about it, while that was happening, when I was a kid, when I was basically a teenager. Let's see here. Oh, this is a big one. Freshman year, I was barely starting out as an honor student, taking honors English under Mr. Todd Skull. That's Skull with a C in the between, Sull. And honors biology under Mrs. Vicky Arnold. Mostly I am going to cover about Mr. Skull's honors English class back in ninth grade. I think it might have been like the second quarter of fall semester. Like the second half, the first half of the fall semester, if you will. This is around October, by the way. We had a second reading assignment, and we were supposed to write something. I was kind of disinterested with that particular reading assignment. And when Mr. Skull noticed that I was struggling with this, he called my stepmother, and my stepmother proceeded to make some kind of first lady speech on how she was a selfless mother who sacrificed everything for me, being her stepson and all. And Mr. Skull, he responded with, "Oh my God, you've done so much for him. I am so touched, Mrs. Miku." Well, guess what? I almost threw up when stepmom told me about it and told Bio Dad about it during that one evening when I was struggling, after I took a nap from being tired from school. But here was the horrible part. As I was taking a little nap in my little makeshift folded area bedroom, Bio Dad steamed into the apartment from outside and started screaming. He used to call me G because of part of my old name, Reginald Panis McCoo. And when he was screaming, I immediately woke up as if I was a soldier or a Marine in Da Nang, waking up to artillery fire and AK-47 gunfire. And so he summoned me into our little living room by the main front door of the apartment to proceed to dress me down with extreme harshness. Throughout this little bit of a chastising, he pointed out that I was doing well as a Navy JROTC cadet, ranked Cadet Seaman First Class. And when he saw that I was getting an A in Navy JROTC, he mocked me. He was like, in mean condescending Tagalog, "Oh, well, what do we have here? Navy JROTC-A. Fall semester. Lots of A's from your assignment regarding honor, courage, commitment. Well, you don't know jack squat about honor, courage, commitment in the naval service. I ought to drop you out of high school and have you enlist in the Navy and have you go into boot camp as an undesignated seaman, and when you get to the fleet, you're going to be cleaning toilets for your entire naval career. Huh. Yeah. Well, yes, I was scared. Scared, crapless, when that happened. But in the end, the joke was on him. Instead of cleaning toilets as an undesignated seaman back in the fleet, I ended up rated as an aviation electrician's mate, fixing high-speed fighter jets on the flight deck of the aircraft carrier USS George Washington from 2008 to 2011. So, in an essence, I kind of one-upped him. Anyway, back to some of the other stuff regarding sins of the father. Let's see here. I'm looking at my big dark blue journal right here. I already covered about the move to Arizona and how disastrous it was, and some of the bollocks that I encountered. And so I will cover maybe another thing that I could fondly remember. Maybe, or not so fondly remember. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to tell you as well, folks. It was so, after I got out of Coolidge, Arizona, and the next several years after that, it was as if my life got frozen in my teenage years, from 7th grade at Jordan Middle School all the way to senior year at Coolidge High School, because of the bad memories that just kept creeping inside my head every now and then. But maybe all of that is about to change, because I'm telling you all the stuff that I experienced many years ago. And like I said, I only aim to teach all of you to be better parents out there. Even though I am not a parent myself. 36 years old, not married, no wife, no kids as of yet. Even though someday I would love all of that for myself. Let's see here. Another thing that I remember. Columbus Middle School, 8th grade, fall semester. I had been sent to special education status because there must have been some kind of records discrepancies in which I didn't submit my transcript my transcript from Jordan Middle School wasn't sent out from Burbank all the way to Canoga Park for some reason. And so I was designated as a special ed student again. And I had to wait 2 weeks to essentially be classified as a regular student again. I was in ESL class under Miss Hanasab Epstein. Well, she was this blonde Jewish lady who was married to an Israeli. And basically, there was this writing assignment that entailed tales of people having strange stories when they were born. There was this one gentleman who wrote about not being able to cry when he came out of his mother, and some other really gnarly stories about unusual births that adult males and females, for some odd reason, remembered. I, for one, began writing in my assignment about basically not being born, not being able to feel anything. Like, I wanted to get angry about the divorce between Bio Dad and Mom, but I just couldn't. And feeling all saddened and angered and scared about it. And so Miss Hanasab, my ESL teacher, caught wind of it, and she sent me to the counseling office to talk to my primary counselor, Miss Cindy Lin, a Chinese American lady who was very influential in helping me navigate through 8th grade at Columbus Middle School, Canoga Park. And Miss Lin, she asked me what was wrong with me, and I couldn't answer her. Possibly because I felt like a POW in an interrogation room in which the questioning was done by enemy soldiers. Kind of like scenarios in Desert Storm in Vietnam. I kept silent. All because anything that I said, and anything that I would have said, would have been presented by Miss Lin to Bio Dad, and I would have been whipped and verbally harassed and any further if I did that. So I kept quiet, and I got a warning from Miss Lin to never write about disturbing stuff in your journal again. And when all I did was to unleash all the negative emotions that I felt when Bio Dad and Mom underwent divorce and annulment, even though they didn't do it physically in a courthouse, but through email and telephone correspondence. Kind of like the case with Phil Collins and Jill Tavelman for their daughter Lily Collins. But that's a little bit of another story that I won't go into further details with. But I kind of draw, even though I kind of draw parallels with my instance and Lily Collins's parents. All right. Let's see here. Yep, there's the VHS. I already told you about that. And we're coming up on the 22-minute mark, and I planned for this for like 25 minutes. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a preview on what I want to talk about next. I'm going to delve more into the childhood portions of abuse that I encountered. And possibly do a little something special, like maybe do a special thanks to certain friends that I've had throughout the years, from school to my martial arts training, and possibly some others at work and my university days. I also plan to read my personal letters to certain people that I had negative interaction with back in school and the Navy and anywhere else, as well as address any of the things, some of the misdeeds that I am not very proud of from way back, that still makes me feel guilty every now and then to this day. That being said, we're at the 23-minute mark. I'll see all of you later, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals. Until next time, Red Hawk, out. Peace.